Well, good morning, Santa Clarita. Happy Friday. It is a nice, cool Friday out there, but it's going to burn off here in just a second. Going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. Another amazing day. Another gorgeous weekend here in the Valley. Guess what? You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. And yes, our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVi and iLead Schools. We are a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, over there on the west side of town. Here on the east side, we've got iLead Agua Dulce. We've got a couple of campuses up in the Lancaster area. We've also got a fully accredited online school and a home study program that just continues to blow up. It's called iLead Exploration. You're going to hear more about that in just a minute. We have got a school no matter what your child's educational needs are, and every single one of them is completely free. That's right. We are a free public charter school network. So yeah, we like to say that we offer the private school experience at a public school price because we are public schools. Why don't you check us out at ileadschools.org for more information on our network, and then you can scroll down and click on each one of our schools' logos for more information on their specific program. That is ileadschools.org. You know what? Why don't you peruse that a little bit while you're sipping that second cup of coffee and listening to the show. So yeah, we've got a great one for you. Again, happy Friday. So glad you joined us. Today in hour number one, you're going to meet Stephanie Wolfe with iLead Exploration. That is the home study program that I just mentioned to you. You ever think about home study? I remember years ago when my son was real young. He's old and moved on now, but he says, "Dad, I want to homeschool," and I had the same reaction that probably most of you have. No way. You probably would do great, but I could never. But you know what? With iLead Exploration, you absolutely can. This program is like nothing you've ever imagined before. Just stick around for a few minutes. Give Stephanie a listen. And then in hour number two, we've got Karla Cervantes. Karla Cervantes is, wow, she's a dynamic young media personality with an incredible pedigree, actress, model, and so much more. And you know what? She's debuting her own show right here on KHTS tomorrow morning. Absolutely, yeah. So she's got a great show. It's going to be perfect to wake up to on a Saturday morning. She's hosting that with her co-host, Patsy Ayala. That's right, that Patsy Ayala. And so, yeah, we'll have Karla here in the studio in hour number two. And then, yes, it grinds to a halt at the end of the show because that's when Mom makes me bring in my big brother for trivia questions, fun facts, and some extremely questionable life advice. So, like I said, it's going to be a great show. It's at least going to be lots of fun and very informative. So let's go ahead and get to it. As I said, my first guest today is Stephanie Wolfe, Lead Educational Facilitator with iLead Exploration. Stephanie is very excited to be part of the iLead team. She believes that encouraging a child's curiosity and unique gifts is the way to develop a love of learning. Stephanie actually taught for 20 years in a traditional classroom setting, but she loves the flexibility and freedom that iLead provides educational facilitators. That's what we call our teachers, and parents, so that they can meet the needs of all learners. Stephanie holds a bachelor's degree in child development, a multiple subject teaching credential, and a master's degree in educational administration. And in her spare time, Stephanie enjoys reading, hiking, traveling, and camping with her husband and her two kids, one of them who's joining us here in the studio today. Great little field trip. Stephanie, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Thanks so much, Matt. I'm happy to be here.
We're so glad that you're here. I mentioned, Stephanie, that you worked for about 20 years in the traditional classroom, very similar to myself. So how and when did you decide to come to iLead? How did that go down?
Well, about 6.5 years ago, I got to a place in my life where I just wasn't feeling quite as fulfilled in the classroom anymore, and I started kind of looking around for something new, and I felt there were so many things I loved about being a classroom teacher, but at the end of the day, I would go home sometimes and realize that I didn't have the chance to connect with each of my learners anymore, each of my students. Sometimes I just felt like there were too many things to take care of in the classroom, and I didn't really know my students anymore. And when I heard about iLead Exploration and the opportunity to really get to know my students on an individual basis and really provide what they needed, it almost sounded too good to be true. And so I took the leap.
Yeah. I think a lot of us, and by a lot of us, I mean those teachers that had the, 10, 15, 20 years experience in a traditional classroom like you and I did, come to iLead for the same thing, right? It's oftentimes when you're with a large district, there's all these different mandates, whether it's from the state or the district, that just dictate, how you teach, what you teach. And now, don't get me wrong, we are still required to teach all the state standards, and no teacher worth their salt would think of doing otherwise, right? We're still looking to teach a relevant and rigorous curriculum, but the freedom of teaching at a charter school is you're able to do what you know is right by kids. So that resonates with me quite a bit. So tell us about your role. What is it that you specifically do at iLead Exploration, and how that looks kind of on a daily basis?
Absolutely. So I am a regional lead educational facilitator, and basically what that means is that I support the educational facilitators, the teachers, and all of their learners and their learners' families in my region, my area, geographically. And so basically, I mean, every day is different, but I'm helping with assessment, getting to know learners, reading data, figuring out where each learner is academically, getting to know families, learning about individual learning styles and interests and hobbies, and basically supporting teachers in planning choosing the curriculum with the families. It's kind of a collaborative process, but
Okay.
choosing curriculum, planning, the ordering, and then the benchmark assessments. We're really big in our program on taking a look at where learners are academically and helping them make progress towards where state standards they should be. And the nice thing about that is the many different options for how to do that. That's kind of a big part of my job also, is just kind of overseeing that individualization.
Okay, so I'm talking to Stephanie Wolfe, regional lead with iLead Exploration. That's iLead's home study or independent study program. We'll get into kind of the difference here in just a second. But you mentioned regional lead, and that brings up an interesting idea. Because you're not campus-based, we're not tied to one geographic area, and so your school serves kids really from a pretty far-flung area. So you work up here in Santa Clarita, correct? But where do you serve learners from?
Well, our school serves learners all the way as far south as Orange County. We go into San Bernardino County, and then my region, my area, we go all the way up through Antelope Valley, parts of Kern County, Ventura County. I mean, we are so widespread, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and then the cool thing for the families is their educational facilitator, their credentialed teacher that supports them and oversees the curriculum, is usually pretty close by, right?
We try really hard to make sure that families and their EFs are close geographically. It doesn't always work out that way,
Sure.
but we try very hard to do that.
Yeah, and that way they've got somebody close by to support, meet up with when there's concerns. And then you also get together and do some pretty fun stuff with the kids, don't you?
Yeah, it's funny because I think that's a myth that a lot
Yeah.
of people believe, that there's not a lot of socialization or opportunities for connecting if a student is a part of a home study program. And we have all kinds of activities. We have field trips where families come together. We have park days where EFs plan activities and families bring their learners to connect. We have so many different opportunities in person, and then there's also virtual opportunities for learners to connect and families to get to know each other.
Yeah, it's amazing. In 2025, and especially post-pandemic, there's still a lot of folks that don't necessarily understand what's possible with an independent study, with a home study program. So let's talk about it because I keep toggling with the verbiage. I used to call you a homeschool, and I would get in trouble for that because legally that's not what you are. So let's talk about your model. What is can we break down the verbiage a little bit? Independent study, homeschool, and then maybe after that we'll kind of compare the three.
Absolutely. So we are a home study, independent study program, which
Okay.
basically means that um, the learning is done, most of the learning is done at home. Like I said, there are opportunities for in person, but most of the learning is done at home. However, we do follow state guidelines. We do teach to the state standards. The curriculum that we choose it's a collaborative process with families, and there are so many options for curriculum, but the goal is to make sure that that curriculum is meeting the state standards. In addition, since we're a charter school, we are funded by the state, but because we're an independent study program, families have a say in how those funds are spent to meet the needs of their learner.
Okay. And so how is that different from what legally a homeschool is? I've heard people use the phrase
Right.
PSA. What
Absolutely.
is a PSA and how is that different?
So a PSA basically means that the family is their own school.
Okay.
They're not connected to a program or a charter school. And so that works great for some families, but if the family is not connected to a charter school, they don't get all the perks of being a part of, let's say, iLead Exploration, which are having that credentialed teacher working closely with you, having all the opportunities for socialization and connecting, and having a lot of the structured academic experiences that our school
Sure.
provides.
Plus the network of families and kind of classmates, if you will,
Exactly.
that you referred to. PSA is actually short for private school affidavit. That's where a family essentially files paperwork with the state saying, I'm going to run my own teeny tiny little private school out of our living room or what have you. But you all are quite a bit different from that. And so I want to go a little bit deeper on what that looks like maybe from a family's perspective. So we actually just passed our enrollment lottery, and we've got lots of families out there that are super excited. Yay! And in fact, in my position in outreach, I still get emails or text messages from families. Matt, I got in, and it's so exciting. And they, when the excitement kind of dies down a little bit, they'll go, so what's next? So talk to us about that. What comes next? A family fills out the application, they get the spot at iLead Exploration, they get all excited, have their little party at home, and then what's next? What happens after that?
Great question. Once a family's notified that they have a spot, there's kind of a little bit of a waiting period. It's a great time for families to kind of start thinking about how they envision their home study experience looking. But over the summer, they will hear from their educational facilitator. Most likely, it would be the very beginning of August, and that educational facilitator will reach out to the family and they'll have some in-depth conversations just about their learners' individual learning style, interests, hobbies, and they'll talk about academics. They'll talk about how successful the learner was in the previous years, what worked, what didn't work, what their hobbies and interests are. And then together, the family and the EF will talk about what type of curriculum would fit that learner best, and they'll start getting materials ordered so that they're ready for that first day of school to jump right in.
Okay, and so you, along with your families, kind of you guide your families, but they ultimately make the decision on this reading curriculum versus that reading curriculum, this math curriculum. Um, but it goes a little bit beyond, just those core four, doesn't it? Because oftentimes families they have kind of a bank that, they have a limit of you can spend this much on your total curriculum. But then because they're not on a campus for physical education, my son went to one of the big local high schools and learned to play the saxophone, and I never had to buy a saxophone. That kind of stuff folks would think isn't available in a home study program, but that's not true. What are some of the other things that folks use their educational funds on?
Oh my goodness, there are so many options. Basically, as long as the core subjects, the curriculum is in place, the rest of the funds can be spent on the maybe I don't want to say extracurriculars, but the more fun, do I say that? The more fun subjects. We have opportunities for music lessons, art classes, all kinds of PE opportunities and experiences. We have martial arts, learners going to martial arts classes, learners going to the soccer center and learning soccer skills. We have, oh my goodness, there are so many options. I'm having trouble kind of narrowing it down right now, to be honest with you.
And that's the great thing, right?
Yeah.
Is you don't start with what we have available. You start with who is your child and what does your child
Exactly.
need? What are their interests? And then, you build the program from there. So iLead Exploration isn't the only independent study or home study program out there. And I'm sure you've gotten to know some programs either through your families that you work with or, your sort of travels around the educational world. So what do you see as kind of the biggest advantage of an independent study through iLead Exploration for students and families?
I have to pick one, right?
Well, no, you know what?
No.
We got plenty of time. Go with 2 or 3.
Okay. I think one of my favorite things about our program, my favorite thing about our program is the people. Our staff works for iLead Exploration because they are passionate about children, about helping children make progress and grow. They're passionate about doing the right thing. Our program has a lot of integrity. But having said that, I think from the perspective of a family, I think the opportunities in our program are really what draws families into us. We have a new program that I wanted to mention, actually. It's called our Engage program. And,
Yes.
And basically, we realized there was a need for high school learners to connect, first of all, to have the opportunity to learn together, to connect, to talk, and also to have a more rigorous high school experience. And so back in August, we started our own little kind of a mini school within iLead Exploration, where we have our fabulous, single subject credentialed teachers who are teaching classes for our learners, either live, or if the learner is not interested in logging in and being part of a live program, they can also work asynchronously. But basically the idea being that learners are coming together with a teacher and doing a lot of those things that learners would get in a brick and mortar setting, but with a smaller class size and instruction that's a lot more directed towards their needs. So it's been a really great experience. And the neat thing is that starting next August, this coming school year, we're expanding that program to the middle school grades. So for grades 6 and up, there's the opportunity to be a part of these fabulous classes with our teachers and other iLead Exploration learners. So anyway, that's I think super exciting. The Engage program, on top of all the other opportunities for connecting that I mentioned before.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a young man yesterday who's been enjoying the Engage program, and he's one of those learners that is considered twice exceptional, highly gifted, just off the charts, brilliant kid, but struggles with some tremendous accessibility issues. He's on the autism spectrum. He's nonverbal. He's got some severe anxiety issues. So he and I were actually talking through. He has a text to voice device, and he was talking about how wonderful it was that he could join this creative writing program in the Engage program and interact with his peers. And he talked about how supportive they were, and he actually ended up, I think, submitting a piece of poetry that won some sort of state or national prize. It was great.
Wow.
We are talking this morning with Stephanie Wolfe, Regional Educational Facilitator with iLead Exploration, our cutting-edge, completely individualized home study program. And do I need to remind you that, like all charter schools, we are a free public school that any parent pretty much in Southern California can choose. When we get back, we're going to do a little bit more myth busting, and she's going to tell you exactly who can enroll and how. You stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
Dr. Neil Green has been treating Santa Clarita patients and making them smile for over 35 years. As a child, Dr. Green had a fear of the dentist and disliked even simple checkups. But today, he's sensitive to your needs. If you have anxiety about getting a checkup, he understands your apprehension, even if you've avoided the dentist for years. Discover the comfort of visiting a dentist with Dr. Neil Green. Dentistry is his profession. People are his focus. NeilGreenDDS.com. That's Neil, Neal, Green, DDS.com.
The latest driving era is upon us. Mercedes-Benz of Valencia is leading the way under the guidance of their new general manager, Sean Kahn.
We're here to serve our community. We treat them like family.
There's never been a better time to buy or lease the Mercedes of your dreams, with some leases starting under $200 and 0% interest financing on select certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz models.
Our goal is to place a Mercedes-Benz in literally every single driveway in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Details at mbzvalencia.com.
At SCV Water, we're more than just a water agency. We're your partner in service, community, and value. From prompt and reliable water delivery to personalized customer support, we're committed to exceeding your expectations at every step.
SCV Water, how may I help you today?
Need assistance? Our friendly and knowledgeable team is just a phone call away, ready to address your questions or concerns. SCV Water, your trusted partner in service, community, and value. Together, we're making a difference. Visit yourscvwater.com today to explore all the ways we're here for you.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson. You are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. And I'm joined this morning by Stephanie Wolfe, Regional Lead Educational Facilitator with iLead Exploration, our completely individualized full-service home study program. Stephanie, we were talking about a couple of myths, and I mentioned that before we went to the break, we'd do a little bit of myth busting. I remember growing up, and now this was 40, 45 years ago, there was a family that lived down the street from me, and they homeschooled their kids, and we always thought, okay, so they don't really, they're not going to school, so they don't have any time to interact with other kids, and there's just no socialization, which, as you and I both know, is a hugely important part of a child's education and upbringing. So talk to me about that. That's a myth, right?
Absolutely. But I'll be honest, that was something I believed until I got into the home study world. There are so many opportunities for learners to connect and engage and socialize with each other, just really depending on what the family's looking for. A couple of my favorite opportunities are our park days. Our program, our EFs plan park days at local parks and invite families to just kind of come and hang out. And there are organized activities, but it's really more than that. It's just a chance to connect, to play, to socialize, for, different home study families to get to know each other, which is so important. I mentioned that we have a lot of different online programs for learners to connect with each other. We have some project-based learning projects going on right now, where learners log in, they participate in a lesson, and over several different sessions, they come together with the same learners and teacher to work on bigger projects. And that's kind of a fun way for learners to connect academically as well. And then in addition, like I mentioned before, we have our field trips that we plan where families get to meet each other. And in high school, we have actually a lot going on for our high school kiddos also. Just different events and field trips and, clubs online. And really, there's so many opportunities for all ages to really connect.
Okay, and this one I get all the time at iLead. We're very intentional, about our nomenclature. We call them learners rather than students. We call our teachers facilitators rather than teachers, and people will interrupt me, when I'm at a Chamber of Commerce mixer, or I'm at an event or a boothing event or whatever, and they'll say, you charter guys, you're sneaky. You call them facilitators, or you refer to yourself as an EF, an educational facilitator. You call them that because they're not real teachers. They don't have teaching credentials, right?
Absolutely not. All of our educational facilitators are credentialed teachers. They have current, valid California teaching credentials, and they're all fabulous. They're passionate, and they have such a love of learning and supporting children in their learning.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then so these next two I can totally understand. When you're not in person, when you're in a home study program, there's really no opportunities, to kind of pad your college resume and things like student government.
No, absolutely not true. We have an ASB program, Associated Student Body, and a lot of our high schoolers are a part of that, and they are the ones who are helping to make different decisions for our school, and they get the chance to be leaders, which is fabulous.
Okay. So it sounds like you offer just pretty much everything and so much more than what a traditional campus can offer. The one thing I'm sure your kids really miss out on, especially this time of year, is when your seniors kind of move on. You got no high school graduation.
Absolutely not.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we actually just had our high school graduation. It was wonderful. Such a great opportunity for to celebrate our graduates. It was a beautiful ceremony. And the great thing is we're small enough that each of our individual learners, those who wanted to, had the chance to be celebrated as individuals. So anyway, graduation was wonderful. We had prom. We had lots of our high school learners attending prom and getting to have that experience. There's a lot happening right now
Oh,
for
yeah.
high school kiddos.
And see, I mentioned just maybe 15, 20 minutes ago that you have no idea what this program can be like. And it really can be anything that our learners and families need. So, so if it's home study and they're doing their school at home, what are those credentialed teachers doing? You mentioned you spend a lot of time with assessment and looking at data and things like that. What is the role of an EF in the life of their learners?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So, in the big picture, our EFs are basically looking at the data, looking at the information families share with them about, how each individual learner learns, their interests, their hobbies, but also, their academic test results, to kind of find the perfect curriculum for them. And then the EF plans on a day-to-day. They let the families know, okay, here's your curriculum that you chose. This is what you should be covering each week, each month. And then they're keeping an eye on things. They're making sure the family has the support they need. Do they have any questions? Do they need help teaching a specific concept? The EF collects work samples, checks the work, grades it, to ensure that the learner is progressing and is understanding what they're being taught, in addition to, of course, that being a part of the state's expectations, us being compliant with that. And then in addition, the teacher meets with the family. They check in about every week, but they actually meet face-to-face. We call them learning periods, but learning periods are about a month.
Okay.
They'll have a face-to-face, sometimes in person. They'll meet at the library or at the park or at a coffee shop. Sometimes they'll meet through Zoom if that's more convenient for the family.
Okay.
And so, basically, the EF's job is to be that sounding board, be that support for the family.
Okay, fantastic. So, Stephanie, you mentioned before that iLead has a strong project-based learning approach, and you mentioned that those classes meet virtually, and they get together. But can you share some examples? Because I can imagine how, Zoom and Skype and all these different platforms have made it easy for us to kind of simulate a classroom environment. But what does it look like when kids are getting together? Do you have any examples of projects? Absolutely.
So project-based learning, it can look so many different ways, but in the big picture, the big idea is that we come together and do a little bit of research and figure out a problem, I'd say a problem in the world or a problem in a learner's environment or life, and the students come together, the learners come together and figure out how they want to solve that problem.
Okay.
And in doing that, they put together a project. Some of my favorite projects that I have been a part of or I have seen in action we had a donut shop project. And
I'm all about it.
Basically, it combined math, it combined research, social studies, so many different subject areas in solving the problem that there wasn't a donut shop in a neighborhood. How do we do the research and create a business? And it was a super fun way for learners to just work on so many different skills together as a group, and and have a lot of fun with it too.
Yeah. Learn, grow, have fun, and boy, you talk about tackling real world problems, Stephanie. I don't know what I would do if there wasn't a donut shop in my neighborhood. I was on the phone with a gentleman, and he was asking about iLead Exploration recently. He was on your website, ileadexploration.org, nice and easy. And he was asking about locations because he was thinking about maybe a hybrid program. Maybe I want my daughter to go on campus once in a while. And I said, yeah, we do have we do have a couple of studios. We've got one up in Lancaster. We've got one down in Orange County. He says, I'm seeing here on your website, you've got one. And in fact, let's talk about the studios here in just a minute. But he says, I'm seeing that you have a location in Acton. And I said, oh, that's not a studio. That's not a place for you to drop off your kid. That's our curriculum library. We actually have 2 curriculum libraries, one in Orange County, one right here in Acton. And when I started explaining to him what the curriculum library was, he went nuts. And all of our families go nuts. I've actually sent photographers out there on the first day of school to take pictures. It's like a Black Friday thing when they unlock the doors. Can you tell our listeners about the curriculum library?
Absolutely. The curriculum library is one of my favorite places to be. Imagine a big, huge room, almost like a warehouse, where all the materials that families return when they're finished with them get organized so that the next family can come and borrow the materials. So since we are state funded, we use funds, we order curriculum. Everything that we order with state funds has to be returned at the end of the year. So what do we do with it? We organize it into a library. And basically you walk into this curriculum library and you look around and you just see everything. You see books and workbooks and science kits and musical instruments and you name it. It's there for families to check out and borrow for as long as they need to borrow it. And it's just so much fun. It's kind of like going shopping for free.
Yeah, absolutely. And unlike the local public library, you get a little bit more than 2 weeks to check out your stuff, don't
Right.
you?
Yeah. You get to keep it as long as you would like to keep it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's just kind of it's also a great way for families to go and explore different curriculums. They can kind of snoop around and see what's out there, see what other families have done. And we have our curriculum librarians who are wonderful experts at helping families find what they need or what they might be interested in. Our EFs will also guide families and send them in and say, take a look at these several curriculums.
Okay.
And so it's a great opportunity to see everything hands-on.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but, a family may have 2, 3, 4 years experience with the current math program that they're using, and okay, it's good, but it's not great. It doesn't really excite me. Go in, check out another math curriculum, and maybe spend a couple of weeks going through it and see how it works. What a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we mentioned the studios, right? You do have a bit of a hybrid program. Tell me about the Orange County studio down in Costa Mesa.
Absolutely. So we have just an amazing program there. It's a program where parents bring their children, and the learners work on science and social studies in a classroom with credentialed teachers. Lots of project-based learning is happening. And it's just a great opportunity for learners to have that classroom experience, that interaction with other learners, to learn how to be a part of a classroom and, what the expectation is in a classroom, and have a lot of fun while learning. It's a great opportunity. Absolutely.
And, I've talked to some of the families, and the moms and dads love the program as well, because it's kind of the best of both worlds, right? I want to take a bit more of a hands-on approach, and I want to guide a little bit more my child's learning. But there's times I got to get my stuff done, and so it's cool to twice a week be able to drop my kids off and go and take care of that stuff. So, gosh, Stephanie, we've covered just about everything: the studio, the hybrid program, the curriculum library where folks can check out just almost an infinite amount of resources and materials. We've talked about, what else do we do? Project-based learning. We've talked about the guidance that our home study families get at iLead Exploration through credentialed teachers. We talked about, the flexibility and the care that families get. I know you had your enrollment lottery already. Are you guys still accepting applications for 2025, 2026, or is that closed?
No, we are accepting applications. If families are interested, they can just go to our website and fill out the interest form. And as we have room, we will add new families. And we actually continue enrolling almost throughout the year until the springtime if seats pop up. So if you're interested, it's definitely a good idea to fill out that interest form.
Yeah, and again, how much does it cost to fill out the application?
It doesn't cost anything because we are a public charter school.
Absolutely. And so I always advise my families, even if you're not sure, especially with iLead Exploration, you do have a little bit of a wait list. It moves quickly because we're not dealing with the physical space of classrooms, but you do want to reserve your spot on that wait list. And then as you're exploring, you get a little bit more information. If you change your mind, no harm, no foul. You move on, you go, wherever else you were going. But why would you? Because you've got an absolutely amazing program, dedicated staff, and I know that folks like you love what they do so much. They stick around for a long time, which is a huge benefit for families as well. You got great experienced staff. Anything else we should be talking about before we cut you loose, Stephanie?
Oh my goodness, I think we covered everything I can think of right now.
I think so too. So again, it's ileadexploration.org. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see an enrollment button, so you can go ahead and click on that. You can get more information. Our enrollment team is incredibly fabulous. I can't believe how quick they are to respond to families, and they'll pick up the phone, call you, answer every one of your questions. Again, ileadexploration.org. Stephanie Wolfe, Regional Lead and Educational Facilitator with iLead Exploration. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Hopefully you're going to get some time to rest and sharpen your saw this summer, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Thanks for joining us. You stick around. When we get back, it is graduation season. We talked about it. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. Some really cool graduations going on out there. I am Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. I am your host, Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. Happy Friday, everybody. We're so glad you joined us. I just getting over a little bit of a sneezing fit that I was having during the commercial break there. So, Stephanie Wolfe, thank you so much for joining us. Stephanie is a regional lead educational facilitator with iLead Exploration. That is iLead's take on home study, and if you missed it, you're going to want to check out the podcast. That's right, we podcast our shows here on KHTS. Just go to the website, hometownstation.com, click on air features, and you'll see podcasts there, and you'll be able to check out today's show or any of our past archived shows. But Stephanie talked about our home study program. One of the myths that we talked about is that, but it's so boring to just walk across your living room for high school graduation. No. They had an amazing graduation just last night, and, balloons and flowers and graduation speeches. And as Stephanie mentioned, one of the beauties of having such a small school, there are only about 3,300 kids. I say only, but now keep in mind, that's TK through 12th grade, and so high school seniors, it's a relatively small group. It's not, 500 kids walking across a stage. So every kid gets that individualized experience, not just your name read and, your family with an air horn, and that's it. They kind of go into a little bit of individualization, and they talk about the families. It really is exciting. But, high schools all over the valley here in Santa Clarita have been graduating for the past week or so, a little bit more than a week. It is really exciting. I love seeing the posts and the articles. Our local media, here at KHTS is so good about covering the graduations, and I love that KHTS does such an amazing job covering all of those events. I think it started last Tuesday, right after Memorial Day, with Saugus High School. That's my old tomato. In fact, I graduated from Saugus High School. Big T did. My son Pars graduated from Saugus High School. And I guess their seniors have been off for almost 2 weeks now. Yeah. Boy, the summer comes early for them. And, the Heart District, they have to stagger it out, and they do 1 or 2 a night for as big as they've gotten for almost 2 weeks now. Because then we had Castaic, and Canyon, and then West Ranch, followed this week by Golden Valley, and then Valencia, And then Sequoia and Hart both graduated on Wednesday night. Shout out to my guy Liam Mee graduating from Hart. And then, what was it, Wednesday night? Oh, also on Wednesday night, iLead Online had their graduation at Higher Vision Church. That's right. Not only do we have an amazing home study program, but we also have an online school for, well, gosh, for whoever needs an online program. Totally different program. You know what? Check out the podcast for that. I'm sure we've got a couple episodes on iLead Online, but iLead Online's graduation was absolutely amazing. And again, highly personalized. You know, it's something different when you've got 30 graduates rather than 300 graduates, and you can spend the full 90 minutes really drilling into, the experience and the trajectory of each of the learners, and, they kind of get to shout out, their favorite teacher or what have you. There was a young lady that just busted out an amazing song, and it was incredible. That was out at, I think I mentioned that, out at Higher Vision Church. So congratulations to the graduates of iLead Online. And then I think the Hart District wrapped up last night. I think they're finally done, almost a full 2 weeks. They wrapped up last night with AOC and Bowman High School. And also last night, now that wasn't down here in Santa Clarita, that was up in Lancaster. Empower Generations had their graduation. That's another iLead school. That's kind of one of our what do you call it? Like an off-brand iLead school. It's kind of like Toyota does Lexus, right? iLead also does Empower Generations. Empower Generations, for those of you who don't know, is iLead's Center for Pregnant and Parenting Teens. It was developed out of the, actually it was kind of a crisis that was identified back in 2010. I didn't realize this until we opened the school. Back in 2010, the census identified that Lancaster, California had the highest rate of teen pregnancy in the state. And so one of my colleagues, Allison, who's been on the show recently actually, she said, you know what? Somebody should do something to help out, and I'm somebody, darn it. And she went to the boss and said, I want to open a school for pregnant and parenting teens. Our boss said, cool, do it. And so she did, and launched a high school where kids could not only learn history, math, science, and all the stuff, but they could bring their kids to school. They have a little nursery there. And then they also learn the basics of parenting, of childcare, nutrition. I remember one of the projects they were working on was the physics of a car crash and how to keep yourself and your baby safe. And so they talked about the importance of, I think, what the 3 points or the 5 points or whatever it is in a car seat and things like that, but all built around the state standards and working towards getting their high school education. Anyways, that's Empower Generations. They don't only do pregnant and parenting teens. They've got other kids that, either, need a much smaller environment or, have credit recovery issues, things like that. But it was just a beautiful event last night, the graduation at Empower Generations. 17 learners graduated, so you can imagine how customized that graduation was. And it was just absolutely beautiful. And then tonight I will be at SCVi's graduation. I think that's the last high school in the Valley graduating tonight. SCVi will also be at Higher Vision Church this evening. And, if you have never experienced an SCVi graduation, you need to log on to either Vimeo or YouTube and search SCVi graduation. That's it. And you can go as far back as, I believe, 2014 was our first graduation. And you talk about personalized. I've never seen more tears than I see every year at SCVi's graduation. Each kid not only has the opportunity to be highlighted that, Jeremy spent 3 years on the soccer team and was part of student government and starred in the school play as a junior, and now he's going on to the Marine Corps or what have you. Every single graduate has the opportunity to speak.
Oh, wow.
Every single one of them. And now it's pre-recorded, right? Because, sometimes folks, they'll
little
get
nerves, maybe.
Right, they'll get some nerves. And so they pre-record, and each one of them has the opportunity to speak. And they'll give shout-outs to their friends or their teachers. They'll talk about what their experience at SCVi was like.
It's a synopsis of who they were as a student rather than just their name.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then even every year we invite a parent or two to come speak, and so that's always exciting. And of course, our lovely producer Sarah will be speaking tonight as her youngest child, Quinn, is going to be graduating this evening. Shout out to Quinn. Congratulations. Quinn was actually here in the studio a couple weeks ago talking about, talking about the fact that she's been at SCVi since kindergarten. That's right. They are the only public high school in town where you can attend from, now transitional kindergarten. Imagine your kid can go from like tail end of 3 years old until 18 to the same exact school. That's exactly, not exactly. Quinn didn't enroll until 5 years old because we didn't have transition. You know what? I'm getting into too much detail. But congratulations, Quinn, and the rest of the SCVi graduates graduating tonight at Higher Vision Church. I want to congratulate all of the graduates across the city here and wish you all the best of luck because, here in Santa Clarita, we don't raise followers, we raise leaders. And so y'all got to keep going, whether it's on to college, the military, or career. Get out and lead because our community, we're not slowing down, and we need you. So remember, for the next 10 years at least, either stay in school or stay at home because, you know what, adulting sucks. So keep it up. Anyways, congratulations, grads. Stick around. When we get back, we'll be talking to the host of the newest show on KHTS. This one launches tomorrow morning and will air every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I'm really excited about this show. Stick around. I am Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. And, normally, I like to introduce my guests by reading their bio. But with my next guest, I've read her bio, and if I did that, we would never get to the interview questions. So I'm going to try to sum up here a little bit. She is a model and actress who has been working darn near all her life in the entertainment industry. She has credits from commercials to soap operas, from variety shows to regular television series. She's an international star, and I can't believe that we even got her here on Eye on the Valley. But you're going to start hearing a lot more from her very, very soon. She's officially a local girl actively involved in the Santa Clarita Valley community and schools. And I lied to you last break. Not tomorrow, but next week, she's going to be launching. She's going to be the co-host of the newest and soon-to-be hottest news show here on KHTS called Hola Familia. Her co-host is City Council member Patsy Ayala, but she is Karla Cervantes. Get to know her name because she is the hottest thing in town. Karla Cervantes, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
You are amazing. Thank you, Matt, for inviting me. Thank you for this great interview time with you. I'm so happy for being here. Yes.
I'm excited to have you. I'm excited about your show. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I want my listeners to get to know about you a little bit. I've spent the last week reading up on you, and you are absolutely fascinating. I talked about it as I introduced you. You've already had such an amazing career, and you're still so young. So take me through your career briefly. How did you get started in the entertainment industry, and what projects have you worked on?
Well, my life in entertaining it started in Mexico. That's why you can hear an accent, okay?
Okay.
As everyone, I really want to clarify that I'm not officially from here. I'm from Mexico. Mm-hmm. So I've been here for 13 years. And I'm, as so many people that are here, like immigrant, I can feel like being separated from family and everything. Yeah. And I want to give the best of myself to this show. So my life started when I was 8 months at the advertising world.
Okay.
My first commercial was when I was 8 months, and I did so many in Mexico. My face was everywhere when I was small, but then I stopped a little bit, and then I started in the entertainment as a host, a kids show host. When it was 2010, it was the official channel of kids in Mexico.
Okay.
And I was hosting that. there's where my communication skills start like going on. And after that, I did like a morning show and then a radio show. And then I came here and start my priority project for the last 11 years, that is to form a family. For the last 11 years, I've been totally, officially doing everything for my family. And now I come again with KHTS, with this show, to do again the entertaining thing that I love the most.
Okay, and so you've got. I was looking at your IMDb, and so you've got quite a few credits, but you weren't always all in on a career in entertainment. In fact, I understand you actually completed your training as a dentist, and at one point you were on the path to become a nun.
Where you saw that? Is that on social media?
Well, I do my research. So tell me a little bit about your journey to finding your true calling as a mom, as an entertainer, and what ultimately brought you back to entertainment.
Okay, when I love to give others. I love to help people. Okay, and my whole life I was in a very religious school.
Okay.
And then I have that feeling to be a nun, but then I decided not to be. And now I'm not as religious as I used to be. Now in a balance, and a great balance in my life. And I love to be that. I decided because my dream was to have a family. Now I have it, and I'm like making all the puzzles of my life, you know, and everything is going. I took the great decisions about that. But since I was 7, I decided to be a dentist because my parents told me I can't be an actress because they don't want that for me in that time, no? Sure. They told me. And so when I was 7, I said, okay, I want to be a dentist. Okay. Because then I can manage all my times. And because I want to do commercials because that's what I was doing, no?
Okay.
And now I see my 7-year-old and said, oh, I was so small to be thinking about that, no? To be thinking about how I want my life on that time. And I did it. I studied for being a dentist, and I officially finished my career and everything. When I finished, I gave the title to my parents, and I said, thank you, but I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be in the entertaining, and then I started hosting, and then life brought me a great opportunity, 2012. I went to Miami to do a sitcom, Nickelodeon sitcom. Okay. I was the villain of the sitcom.
Oh, you were the villain.
I was the villain.
Yes,
and that was the most amazing experience in my life. And that's why I came to United States. I went to Miami. I did a sitcom. I was nominated in the Kid Choice Award.
Oh, wow.
It was fun. It was pretty fun, that experience.
So was this in English or in Spanish?
That was in Spanish.
It was in Spanish, filmed in Miami, aired on Nickelodeon.
It was a Latin America sitcom. That's fun.
But you hosted a kids show and a morning show, and so you're used to, and you've got such an amazingly friendly character and presence. What was it like to be the bad guy, the villain on this show?
I never thought on that before, right? Because I think I need to exaggerate so bad to be, because my looking doesn't look like a villain, right? There's like some characteristics, but I have so much fun, and I did it so well. I think so.
Okay.
It was a good experience.
Well, you won a Kids' Choice Award. You must have been doing...
I don't want it. I didn't want it.
You were nominated.
I was nominated, but I was the second place.
Still, that shows that you're doing a pretty good job. Okay, so that partway answers my next question. So it was this show on Nickelodeon that brought you to the States, but in Miami. So how did you end up here in Santa Clarita?
In Santa Clara. Yeah. I've been for 21 years married with my husband.
Okay.
So our
Wow,
goal...
you look like you're barely 22.
No. I'm not. But but our goal forever was to form a family, to be together, to have a family.
Sure.
So as soon as we finished that sitcom, we were ready to have a family. And I prefer to be in Los Angeles raising a family than in Mexico City or even Miami. So we decided to move on to Los Angeles. The first 8 years of our life, we live in Burbank, in Glendale.
Okay.
But then, as soon as we decided to buy a house and everything, we knew Santa Clarita was amazing for raising families. And I never regret of being here because I love Santa Clarita. We've been living here for 5 years.
5 years, okay.
And I love my kids being at school. I love being resident of this city. I feel proud of it. And I love everything that the community gave to me and my family.
Well, and I love, you've been here 5 years. I love that you're not just here to kind of take what the community has. You're involved and you're giving back to the community. I hope it's okay if we get a little bit into your personal life.
I love it, of course.
You've mentioned your husband a couple of times. He's pretty accomplished in his own right. Talk about what your husband does for a living.
He's a very talented artist.
Yes.
He draws.
Uh-huh.
He's famous.
he is, and he's really good.
Yes, he is. He works for Disney. He works for Warner, for the most popular and most worldwide brand. I hope he's hearing this because, but he's an amazing Mexican artist.
Okay.
We just went to Mexico last week, and they make like I don't know how you say it, like an homage, like a.
Un homenaje.
Un homenaje.
They made an homage or a tribute.
A tribute.
Okay.
For all, because he was it was the second time this Comic-Con, like a Comic-Con in Mexico, it was like done, and they chose like 3 Mexican artists, and one of them was him. The other one was Jorge Gutierrez, the Book of Life.
Yes.
Jorge Gutierrez. Then Humberto Ramos, that is his best friend. He's the top, and he's Mexican, of the comic book artist, Marvel.
Yes.
And my husband. He has done so many things for parks. He's an Imagineering. He has a toy brand.
Wow.
He's a great artist. He has done so many different stages of the entertainment and makes him like a complete artist.
Okay, and then you mentioned you have 2 kids. They go to local schools here, and you're very involved in their schools, yeah?
Yeah. I'm the president of the chair, of LPAC, English as a second language, because Alex, my son, he was so involved into starting to learn English because both of them didn't know nothing about English until they went to school. Because at the home, we just speak in Spanish.
Okay.
They know 100%. The little one, not yet. He's still learning Spanish. But Alex can read because he's still young. But Alex, my older one, can read, can talk and write in Spanish.
Okay, so I want to talk about that a little bit because that's something that I've been through with my family as well. So you speak only in Spanish at home, and at first your kids didn't speak English when they started at school. But that was a choice you made, correct? Tell me about why you chose to raise your children bilingual.
I was lucky enough because some people are married with someone that is American,
Yes.
So they don't have a choice because my whole life I've been talking in Spanish,
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so my husband and me, we always been related in Spanish, so it was easier for me.
Okay.
Because I know another friends that are married with an American husband that they need to be speaking in English between them. So it's a little bit more difficult, but not impossible.
Not impossible.
Because her girls speak perfectly Spanish. So I want to embrace and I want to say to all the people who speak Spanish to encourage their kids to speak both languages, please. And now I am very thankful with Santa Clarita community because they are starting to do so many courses in bilingual, dual immersion.
Yes.
I can see it clearly. I was giving Spanish classes in New Hall Community Center for 2 or 3 years. And now I'm a little bit more busy, and I'm waiting for that part of me to continue giving Spanish lessons. But really, I really want to encourage all the Hispanic people. With this show, I'm showing the passion I have inside my heart of the Mexican I am or the Hispanic woman I am, and to feel proud of it, and to feel proud of speaking 2 languages. I know you speak 2 languages.
I do. I was going to say, being a Latina married to an American, it's not impossible to raise bilingual kids. My ex-wife used to be married to an American, and they raised their kids bilingual. It's me, friends. It's me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I love, like you said, I've lived here for 45 years, and I've watched our community make that shift and really embrace multiculturalism, bilingualism, to the point where now our city every summer celebrates different cultures up in Canyon Country through it's called Celebrate. And so they celebrate a different culture every I think once a month on Fridays. And you're right, our schools, American families are banging down the door to get into our schools that have DLI programs, dual language immersion programs, because even though neither mom nor dad speak Spanish, they want their children learning to speak Spanish, and they're putting them in these programs.
It's a great opportunity for the kids for doing better for his brain, because you are using the 2 hemispheres and other parts of your brain if you speak more languages. You can't imagine how difficult it is for me to speak in English in this time. Although I've been here living for 13 years, there's people who have lived here for 25 years and they can't speak. It's not easy.
Nope.
It's not easy, and doing this is a great challenge for me. Doing a show that I was supposed to do it just in Spanish, now it's going to be bilingual. It's going to be in English and Spanish. It's a great challenge for me. But I love to think in the possibility I'll be encouraging people to start speaking, to start learning. If you are living here in this great place that is America, that is United States, you need to be part of this with the language, with being involved in the city, helping others, and being part of the community. That's life,
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And then I also want to encourage those folks that were raised speaking English to learn another language, because just like you said, living here in America, you need to be able to be involved in the community. Living here in the world, this world is a multilingual world, and if you're going to participate, you need to get involved. Learn another language, just whether it's a few phrases. I mentioned I raised my kids bilingual, and so for the first couple of years, like yours, they didn't speak English, and my parents got a little nervous. But I said, don't worry, Grandpa, I can teach you. Can you say te amo? And that's all they needed to know, right?
Te amo is I love you.
Yes.
And that's the most powerful and thank you words or gracias you can say in the world.
Absolutely. We're talking with Karla Cervantes. She is the co-host of Hola Familia, and proof of the fact that our community continues to embrace this greater multicultural, multilingual society. She's hosting Hola Familia. It's going to debut in 1 week from tomorrow. We're going to talk more about that when we get back. Karla Cervantes, model, actress, media personality, community activist, mom, wife, she does it all, and now the newest host of the soon-to-be hottest show in town. And let's get to the show. I want to talk about it when we get back. Stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by Karla Cervantes. She has already enjoyed an illustrious career in modeling, television, media in multiple countries. countries. And next week, she is launching the newest radio show, the most innovative show around, with her co-host Patsy Ayala. That's right, that Patsy Ayala, City Council member Patsy Ayala, right here on KHTS. What an amazing duo. I can't wait to hear the show. I thought we were going to get your debut tomorrow, but you told me I have to wait one more week. So let's hear about it. I mentioned, that you're going to be launching this show on KHTS with Patsy Ayala, who could not be here today because she had city business to attend to. But how did you meet Patsy, and what made you two decide that you were going to do a radio show together?
Okay. First, the proposal I did it to KHTS. I was the one who did the proposal because I really want a Spanish version in radio. I really want to hear Spanish in the radio, right?
Yes.
So I came here, and I have I was very lucky about knowing Jerry and everything because she was the one who proposed to be with Patsy. So
Okay.
I knew Patsy because of Jerry, so she has the vision to decide that maybe this could be an amazing show together. And I can't be more lucky to have her in the show, to be
Sure.
together in this show because she's such an amazing woman. She really wants to embrace, she really wants to help others. She has a great vision.
Yes.
Yes. So I am so happy to share the studio, the microphone with her, and sharing experiences and to see and help people, Hispanic community, not just Hispanic, maybe multicultural community here in Santa Clarita.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is the show about? What's the format of the show?
We will have like four different segments. We will have breaking news. We will be saying like the news about the community, what is happening in the community, good news, and then worldwide news. So we can be talking about not just what is happening here, it's all around the world, right? And then we will have some entertainment. We will have guests visiting here, like people, Hispanic people who has done very good things in Santa Clarita community. We have two amazing sponsors. Hugo is with us, Hugo's Gym. Everyone has gone to his place, including me. Now I'm going every Monday to Hugo to make parkour with my kid. And he's great, and he'll be with us. And he will be visiting us, having talks with him and any other sponsor, Hispanic sponsor. We want them on our show.
Okay, you mentioned you had two sponsors. You have Hugo's Gym, and who's your other sponsor?
My other sponsor is Eddie. Eddie Perez, he has a cleaning company.
I see.
But not any, he cleans hospitals. He's the best cleaning man company in the whole Southern California.
Okay.
It's amazing the job he does.
Okay, so industrial cleaning.
Industrial cleaning.
Okay. So is your show going to be only for Spanish speakers? Will English speakers be able to follow along? Or is it just for folks that speak both? Who's going to be listening to your show?
Okay, first we were thinking about just doing in Spanish, but then we really want to include all the people who wants to start speaking Spanish.
Yes,
so
I love it.
We'll be translating. We will figure out because there's nothing like this out.
Right.
In all Southern California, there's nothing like this, like bilingual. Like we will be jumping from English and Spanish, but translating, so people can be catching the English and the Spanish, and learning it with the show.
That's not easy. That's going to be a heavy lift to switch back and forth. We've all heard the term Spanglish, where people speak using both idiomas, and like I just did, and they'll pepper in a word in Spanish when they're speaking in English, or they'll throw in an English word when they're speaking Spanish. That's the true mark of bilingualism, is when you're doing that. But you're not going to do that. You're going to be going back and forth, which is a difficult task. I was having dinner last night with 3 people. Two of them speak Spanish, speak mostly Spanish, but they also speak English, and the other one spoke no Spanish at all. And the way I've developed it is when someone speaks to me in Spanish, I respond in Spanish.
Oh.
When someone speaks to me in English, I respond in English. And so I was going back and forth last night. It's not easy, Karla.
No, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And I think maybe for Patsy can be easier because she's been longer here.
She's been here a little longer.
Longer, right? Like practicing and everything and doing it. For me, it's going to be more challenging, but I think usually with the time I'm going to get it because you are using different parts of your brain when you're speaking English and when you're speaking Spanish.
Right.
So you need to be like popping and switching on.
Because they're different systems,
Yes.
right? Just, for example, we all learned in high school that in Spanish, it's the adjective. The adjective comes after the noun and not before, like in English. And so it is a different system.
You want to speak in Spanish, Matt?
Claro.
Me encanta. Gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí
Claro.
con nosotros. Gracias por estar promoviendo y formando parte de este programa. Thank you.
Para mí es un placer. Karla was just thanking me for helping her promote her show, and I said, of course, it is my pleasure. And so we're practicing for your show here.
Yes,
Going
we're
back and
practicing. Let's continue practicing.
Okay, entonces dime cuándo es el debut de tu show y a qué hora sale.
Sale el próximo 14 de junio
Okay.
de 9:30 de la mañana a 10:30.
June 14th is when her show debuts
June
at
14th.
9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Exactly.
cada sábado.
Cada sábado nos van a estar escuchando a Patsy Ayala y a Karla Cervantes a través de KHTS. Hola Familia. I love the name of Hola Familia.
I do too.
Everyone can understand it, right?
Sure.
Hola, hello, like it doesn't matter which language you're speaking. Hola is like a worldwide, world.
Everyone understands hola.
Hola.
And familia, two small words, very simple, but tells you exactly what the show is going to be. It's warm, it's welcoming, it's inviting. We're going to bring you in and let's just talk.
Yes.
Let's engage.
Exactly.
And again, you launch on June 14th. Every Saturday morning, 9 to 10 a.m. I'm so excited. It's going to be the perfect way for me to wake up on a Saturday, have my coffee as I'm getting ready to enjoy the weekend.
Exactly. And the wonderful thing about this show is that we are going to be saying to all the families what's going on in the community for all the families. You can go here, you can have this event, because Patsy is all enrolled in everything what is happening.
Yes.
So she's a perfect co-host to be saying what to do, how can we get involved, and how can we help, what can we go and enjoy with our family in summer and during the all the year, right?
I agree, and I think you're the perfect complement to her as well. Given your experience, I'm sure you got to know so much in the industry working in Mexico and then in Miami. Now you're here in Southern California. And then you and Patsy both are so involved in the community. So both of your voices bring that worldview, can help educate our community as well as encourage them to get involved in your kids' schools, get involved in your community, go do the thing, speak up and be part of the leadership, not just following along or letting life happen to you. I love that.
Yes, because sometimes like not knowing perfectly our language can be like a little bit of insecure in ourselves. Yeah, how to expressing our word. If you put me like in speaking Spanish here, I would go like, like totally without. But in English, I need to be thinking, and I know to so many people to raise their words, their speaking in English can be a little bit more challenging, but it's possible. If Patsy and me, we are here in a radio station giving all of ourselves to the community in our scale of English that we have, everyone can do it too.
Yeah. You're reminding me now of one of my favorite lines in a movie. Not necessarily my favorite movie. I like the movie. It's called A Walk in the Clouds. I don't know if you ever saw it with Keanu Reeves. And he's a World War II soldier, and he ends up in Napa, and he meets a Mexican family. and there's struggle and going back and forth, and the father of this family has a very thick Spanish accent, and he says to Keanu Reeves, just because I speak with an accent doesn't mean that I think with an accent.
Whoa!
And I thought that was so powerful. But so many times immigrant groups feel that way. I can't manage the language, and therefore I can't participate in my child's school, in government, in my community. And that's not true.
Because the first years that you are starting to get involved with other people who their main language is English, you can't understand so much. You can't follow all the words and everything, all the meaning, and not even at school. There's terms, there's some words that we doesn't know, although we study our whole school at when we were young, right?
Sure.
There is so many words that we're starting to know as adults. And it's not easy. Sometimes I'm just so concentrated trying to listen, to understand everything, the real meaning, what they are trying to say. And it's challenging, but it's an amazing opportunity to grow.
I love that you see it as an opportunity to grow, because you're right. That's how you're going to learn, by doing it, right? We at iLead Schools, we believe in project-based learning because we learn by doing things, not by studying things.
That's how we grow, and that's how we learn. Like since we were born, we learn to go to the restroom or to take a bath and everything just by doing it, like by habits and everything. You just need to start doing it to learn it.
Absolutely, and just because you maybe struggle to say what you have to say doesn't mean that you don't have something to say. So get out there and do it. You were telling me before we started this morning that when you first enrolled your kids in school here in Santa Clarita, there were some issues that came up that you were concerned about. And so you just, I don't know if you sent an email, you picked up the phone and you called the superintendent of the school and you said, this is what's needed.
Yes.
Well, I think more families need to do that.
Yes, because I think it's important in a very positive way to raise our word. We don't need to go and do a mess. No, we can have a good communication. You can give your opinion in a good communication to have a solution.
Yes.
Not to make more mess.
Okay.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I love to propose to have solutions. And I think all the people should do that. If they want to have something, they need something, they need to raise their how you said, they need to raise
their voice.
Their voice.
Yeah. And that's exactly it, right? And I hope you're going to encourage, I know you and Patsy are going to encourage your listeners that just because you don't have the vocabulary doesn't mean that you don't have the voice and to speak out.
I love that.
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Okay, Karla. So one more time, give us a quick synopsis. What is your show? When is it? And when can people listen?
Great. I want to invite all the people to Hola Familia next show through KHTS 12:20 a.m. and 98.1 FM because we will have a great show every Saturday from 9 to 10 and we will be having so much fun. Karla Cervantes and Patsy Ayala will be hosting this show. Bilingual show, English and Spanish. You can be learning Spanish if you want, and you can
learning English if you want,
or learning English if you want to help yourself in this in learning English. And we will be entertained, knowing everything what is happening in the community, and having all the news and music and good time.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Karla, do you know what the phrase break a leg means?
Yes.
Okay, you've been in show business, you know. So it's bad luck to wish someone good luck.
Yes.
And so I guess it's good luck to wish someone bad luck. I don't want you to hurt yourself, but I do want you to have an amazing show. I can't wait for it. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. Break a leg.
Oh, thank you so much for receiving me. Thank you for this time. And let's do anything you want or can imagine together, because together we are stronger.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Ha sido un gustazo para mí.
Ha sido un gustazo.
You stick around. When we get back, it is the worst segment of the show. The segment when my mom makes me bring my stupid big brother on and goof around and act like a big shot. It's annoying, but while you might not laugh with him, you're more than welcome to laugh at him. Big T is coming right up with trivia, fun facts, and some extremely questionable life advice. Stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. And welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. Thank you one more time to Karla Cervantes, the host of KHTS's newest show, Hola Familia, a bilingual variety show right here on KHTS. Such incredible vision behind that show. It's going to be so much fun. Karla and Councilmember Patsy Ayala co-hosting the show starting on June 14th, 9 to 10 a.m. Don't miss it. It is going to be so much fun. What a great way to kick off your weekend. Unlike this next segment that is about to crash and burn like it does every week, because it is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Big T is an executive and philanthropist. He is an amazing father, husband, and dog dad. He is also living proof that evolution isn't always a straight line. Here he is, everybody. He's mom's favorite, Big T. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, brother man?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, just got some breaking news.
Yes.
Federal judge determined that Trump will get the nation on weekdays, and Elon Musk gets it every other weekend and holidays.
Okay.
Playing nice.
Right. Okay, but who has to pay alimony? That's what I want to know.
We all do.
The taxpayers.
We all do. Oh, that is good news, brother man. We got engineer Andrew here in the studio with us.
Good morning.
Morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
You know, I asked Karla if she wanted to stick around and play trivia. She said only if it's in Spanish, and Jen shook her head no. So
Yeah,
fortunately,
I'm out.
seniority still does speak for something.
No.
So Karla's out.
Andrew's
in.
When I heard Karla and Patsy were on, I brought some bilingual trivia, but...
Okay, vámonos.
Take it a shot. Let's go.
No. I not without those guests, no.
Okay, we'll have to get him back.
Correct.
All right, dude, what do you got?
All right, so got a couple of, I love my life tips, my life hacks, right? But
we
got
all
a couple of tips to kind of keep people on their toes, keep them guessing what's really going on, right?
Let them know you've been there.
Ask a coworker if they ever get that weird deja vu feeling. Ask them that 3 days in a row.
So that one takes planning and time.
Exactly. Another fun thing to do at work, install a wireless mouse on a coworker's computer, and then every once in a while, just give it a little jiggle.
That's fun. Or remote into the computer. I've done that.
Correct. We talked a while back about having Facebook friends who group tag lots of people on Facebook posts.
Yeah.
Christy, I'm talking about you.
Yes.
Have some fun back with them. Post on their wall a random happy birthday or congratulations on the new job or heard there's a baby on the way.
Oh, jeez.
You know what?
Let the rest of their friends suss it out and say, oops, I'm sorry. I thought I was posting on somebody else's wall. My bad.
Ferb, I know what we're going to do today.
The new job one, that's low.
Oh, yeah. I love that. And accidentally tag their boss in it.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, you ready for some trivia?
Yes, we are. And so for our friends that are playing along at home, here's what we're going to do. Tony's got some trivia questions. We're going to hit our buzzers by means of shouting out our name. For whatever reason, my name during this segment is Frogger. And but you have an advantage at home. Don't shout out your name, but rather shout out the answer and see if you can beat us. But Jen, Andrew, and I have been doing this for quite a while. We're getting pretty good. Let's see if you can do it. Go for it, Big T.
Perfect. What actor and comedian appeared in the video for the Paul Simon song, You Can Call
Jen.
Me Out?
Mm-hmm.
Jen.
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase is it. What 1984 Tina Turner song was the title for the Oscar-winning film? Jen.
What's Love Got to Do with it?
What's Love Got to Do with it?
Absolutely nothing.
What police song features the lyrics, There's a little black spot on the
Frogger.
Sunday? Frogger.
Synchronicity.
Incorrect.
Dang it. I know the correct answer now.
What's the lyric, Big T?
There's a little black spot on the sun today.
There's a little black spot on the sun today.
That's it.
I know
can't
how much
think
you
of the
love
song. The song title. I don't know. Pass.
Is it
King of Pain?
Is it? Oh, oh yeah, King of Pain. Okay.
King of Pain.
I was gonna say, don't tell me it's Synchronicity 2.
Right, I know, huh? What 80s band had a top 40 hit covering the Supreme song, Where Did Our Love Go?
Jen. Genesis?
Incorrect.
Nope. Nothing.
Lead singer's Mark Almond.
Okay, so you're talking about Soft Cell.
Soft Cell's
Oh, yeah.
Baby, baby. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did I love go? I can't even think of the tune. But yeah, it's, or some people know it as the last half of Tainted Love.
Name the redheaded British singer who released the 1987 song "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Jen.
Okay.
Jen.
Rick Astley.
Rick Astley's correct.
It just hit 1 billion downloads.
What's that?
So it just hit 1 billion downloads or plays.
Did it really?
A billion.
In 1985,
You just been
Madonna
rickrolled.
married what actor?
Who married
Jen.
what actor?
Oh, sorry.
Jen.
Should I let you hear it?
No, go.
Sean Penn.
Oh,
Sean Penn married Madonna back in 1985.
No photos, please.
All right. A subsidiary of Nestle, what frozen pizza brand has the name that means literally of the day in Italian?
Jen.
DiGiorno's
DiGiorno.
correct.
Jen, you're working on a skunk right here. 5-0. Wow.
Don't jinx me.
What brand features the most interesting man in the world?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Dos Equis.
Dos Equis is correct. The Soul, the Sorrento, and the Sportage are
Frogger.
models made by Andrew.
Oh, okay. Kia.
Was it Andrew?
Yep.
Perfect. What singer hit the charts with I Can't Drive 55?
Frogger.
That'd
be Sammy Hagar.
Sammy Hagar. Are you on the board now, Frogger?
I am. We're all on the board. Now it's 5-2-1.
I gotcha. In the U.S., the metal part of a car that covers the engine is called a hood. What is it called in the U.K.?
Oh. Frogger. It's not the boot, is it?
It's not the boot. That's the trunk.
That's the trunk. Yeah. I got junk in my boot.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. It's the bonnet.
Oh, the bonnet.
Oh,
boot
cute.
to bonnet. That's right.
That's adorable.
Boot and bonnet. The Sentra, the Altima, and the Pathfinder are
Frogger.
all car models. Was that Andrew?
No, that was Frogger.
Frogger, sorry.
He was just grumbling. Those are Toyotas.
Incorrect.
Andrew.
Wait a minute.
Nissan.
Nissan is correct.
Zut
Nissan
alors.
Sentra, Nissan Altima. Come on, Frogger.
Jen, I'm going to have you delete a couple of commercials. I'm going to need some more time to make a comeback.
I.e. cheat. Is that code for cheat?
No, in soccer we call it stoppage time.
Four corners. What popular Honda model was debuted in 1970 and has a palindromic name that reflects its car's design?
Frogger.
Wow.
Frogger.
Civic.
Civic is correct.
Okay.
Palindromic.
Good
You just said
one.
palindromic.
Jeez.
That's a big word, Tony.
That's the thing. I practiced it.
All right.
Also known as lean manufacturing, just-in-time manufacturing is a hyper-efficient process pioneered by what Japanese automaker in the 60s?
Andrew. Honda. Ooh.
Incorrect, not Honda.
Jen. Toyota.
She said Toyota.
Oh, I did not hear it. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Toyota is correct.
Oh, sheesh.
Spotty phone reception up here. According to some reports, what rental car company chose its name not because of a historical reference to San Antonio, but simply
Jen.
Frogger.
Jen.
Alamo.
Alamo to be near the front of the phone book.
Oh, yeah. Like
smart.
Aardvark pesticides or whatever.
First thing that comes up.
AAA services.
Yes.
What's the name of the black sports car equipped with talking artificial intelligence? Frogger.
Kit.
Kit is correct. What Japanese automaker of the Miata and the CX-5 introduced the repetitive zoom
Frogger.
line to the U.S.? Frogger.
Hyundai?
Incorrect.
No.
Jen.
Oh, shoot.
Jen?
Mazda?
Yes.
Mazda Miata, the Mazda CX-5.
Yeah.
Who are Detroit's big three automakers?
Frogger. Ford, GM, and Chrysler.
That is correct.
Oh, boy!
In the famous parody of a Christmas Carol, Jingle Bells, what famous fictional car that belongs to a superhero lost its wheel?
Jen. The Batmobile. And the Joker
Correct.
got away.
Extremely well written question, Big T. Extremely well written.
Established on November 11th, 1926, and stretching 2,448 miles across the U.S., what famous highway is also known as
Jen?
Will Rogers Memorial? Jen?
That was Andrew.
Sorry, Andrew.
Route 66?
Route 66
Route
is
66.
correct.
Route.
What famous
Tomato.
What famous alternative group song references getting their kicks on Route 66?
Ooh.
Oh. Well, that was back in the 60s. Frogger? Are you talking about Pet Shop Boys?
No, not correct.
No.
Is it like Van Halen or somebody? Van Halen?
Nope. Andrew, you got
Nothing.
anything?
Nope.
I'm sorry?
No.
Nothing? Depeche Mode?
Depeche Mode. But that was a remake.
Really?
Yeah. It was a remake, though.
Okay.
That song came out in the 60s.
All right. It didn't come out by the Pet Shop Boys.
No, it didn't. We got time for one, maybe two more, Tony.
All right. Phantom, Ghost, and Spectre are all models of what luxury car company?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Is that Aston Martin?
Incorrect.
Frogger, Lamborghini.
Incorrect. Jen, you got anything?
Ferrari.
Oh, okay.
No, Rolls-Royce.
Rolls-Royce, Phantom.
It's a Rolls-Royce. Last one, T.
All right. What's the name for the cover on the center of a car's wheel?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Hubcap?
Hubcap is correct.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Way to go.
Seemed
That
to be
brought
way
you up
more
to 4.
complicated than it should have been.
But Jen absolutely smoked us today, brother. She killed it. Way to go. Boy, a vacation suits you well,
right.
Jen. All right, we got to wrap it up. Big T, thanks for swinging by. We'd also like to thank our guest, a regional educational facilitator with iLead Exploration, Stephanie Wolfe, Karla Cervantes, host of the newest show here on KHTS, Hola Familia, producer Sarah, engineer Jen, engineer Andrew, and thank you for listening. Remember, friends, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well, do good, and tune in next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. on KHTS.